Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And I want to welcome my panel who have come together and to share our thoughts and feelings. And joining me is Karen Downy, Dr. Kristine Pass, Susan Jarboe, and Reverend Linda Burdett. And I'm Kathy Cronin, and I will lead today's discussion. So before I start that, I want to take a moment for us to get centered and focused, to be in this present moment and to be open to that which surrounds us. So if it helps to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, just focus on your breathing. Take that deep breath in, feel the spirit of the divine coming into your body. And as you release that, let out a sigh and just feel the tension relieving your shoulders and everywhere in your body. You can feel that tension going. And we take another breath in and we feel the presence of the divine that is filling our hearts, our mind, our soul. Our body is enlightened with that which is for our highest good. And release our breath. And we know that we are grounded in this present moment. With this, we say thank you, Heavenly Father, for joining with us today, for the guidance and wisdom that our panel will share, and for those who have come to listen and be with us, that they may find some truth and learning for themselves, that this may be an enlightening moment for all of us to find that the Spirit of God surrounds each and every one of us. And with this, we say, Amen. So the topic I picked today is from Unity Booklet, 30 days of living with intention. And it's Today I Am, and my topic is Today I Am Aware. It's day 3 from the booklet. And this was written by Reverend Elizabeth Longo from South Florida. And I want to read what she wrote. Awareness is the key to freedom. I remain vigilant of how I invest my life's energies and the thoughts that I give power. Awareness is the light that illuminates my path and frees me from the endless merry-go-round of habits and beliefs that no longer serve me. Once we are aware of the barriers that are holding us back, we have a choice. We can shift those limiting thoughts and access our divine gifts. Our surface mind continually navigates from past to future. If we let our minds create horror movies, we miss the beauty and opportunities the present moment offers. Practicing awareness is the way out of endless suffering. Once you notice a limiting or stressful thought, you have the power to turn it around. The practice of being aware opens the way for the radiance of being to reveal itself. A few times a day, pause, breathe, and notice your thoughts and feelings. If you notice a negative thought, let it go. Remind yourself that you are a powerful being, lovable and worthy. Remain vigilant. Trust your intuition and be grateful for every moment and every breath. And I wanted to share this with the panel to sort of share our ways of how we keep ourselves aware or handle our being vigilant as to what's going on and open to the awareness. As I read this, it was so appropriate for me that I so often have to take that time to just, in my head, when I start rattling off all the things that are negative going on, I have to just yell at myself, stop that chatter, or that monkey mind has let go and has grabbed hold of where I'm going. And it's just being aware of when those idle thoughts are going on, or sometimes the inner thoughts within me, that it's like I'm on a seesaw, this side and that side, and which side do I take, and who's the good and who's the bad, and sometimes it just becomes so nerve-wracking for me to do that I just have to be aware of it, stop, take a breath, and then just let it go to say the answer will come. I will be guided when I need to make the right decision and the right decision. And so when I'm vacillating, which I often do, and my husband accuses me of it, I have to become aware of that. And I always like to see both sides of the coin. I like to see this side, and I also see that side. And so it's sort of like it helps me sort through which direction or where I want to be with it. But it's key thing that has helped me a lot. And I did the Course in Miracles last year. And one of the things was each day is just taking that moment to be aware, to stop when my mind is in chatter and just see the things around me. You know, see that door there, or see that book sitting there, or just see everything around me, and just taking that moment to get out of the craziness that sometimes gets going on in my mind and be present in what needs to be here and now. And I think this was really well done when she was saying that we can create the horror movies in our lives. We can keep replaying what happened in our childhood, and we can keep replaying what our exes did, and we can keep replaying, the traumas that had happened in our lives. Or we can say, in this moment, that happened. It wasn't pleasant. It was a horrific experience, but I can go forward from this moment, from this time, and live in this day and change that negative feeling. So I want to put this to the panel is, what are your methods of how you stay aware of what's going on around you and within your mind and within you? So I'm going to open this up to who wants to share what's going on for them.
This has been such an interesting topic to me because one of my more recent, and by that I mean in the last few years, things that I've been doing is in my meditation, um, I I feel for where I am experiencing my presence, my I amness. And most of the time, it's a pretty standard spot, the back of my head kind of thing. And it's a location for me. So when I am in a conversation with somebody, or I'm reading something or watching TV and I'm triggered in some way, and I feel the my energy pulled into someplace else, my throat, for instance, or my stomach. That's a frequent one. Um, it acts as a cue to remind me to pull back into presence. And I'm getting better and better at returning quickly. I think it's a lot like a pendulum that our emotions can sometimes really swing from one wild end to the other. And the older I've gotten, the more I've done this particular kind of practice, the less the pendulum swings. So that my extremes, I notice an emotion, I notice my energy flowing in a different direction more quickly, and I'm able to pull it back into awareness. And that has enabled me to live a whole lot more peaceful than I ever did. Growing up, I was called melodramatic, and while I hate the term, it was probably very true. Um, and so I really like this more peaceful place of living from awareness. So thank you for this, Kathy.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. So Karen or Susan, would you like to go next?
I also liked this topic, and I also have done A Course in Miracles, and I remember the exercise that you talked about, looking around at everything and focusing on it. And one of the things that helped helped me do that was sometimes in the mornings I don't feel so well, and looking around and naming everything in my bedroom before I get out of bed really helps. Uh, like Kristine, one of the ways I become aware is often through something physiological first. And for me, it is often the queasy stomach. Not like I'm actually going to throw up, but there's just an uneasiness there, an apprehension there. And when I feel that, I stop and think about what I'm thinking about. And I try to go on another path. There's a book, maybe we've talked about it before, called Love is Letting Go of Fear. And it is based on A Course in Miracles. And what the author writes is that we, on the pendulum, flip back and forth between what he calls the guilty past or the fearful future. And guilt and fear are terms used broadly in this context. I know that some of my guilty past is consists of embarrassing moments. And that's nothing to feel guilty about, but I do remember feeling embarrassed. And with that particular phenomenon, I go back to what did I learn from this? And when it comes to the fearful future, there are many things I can be apprehensive about that really aren't worth being apprehensive about. And you've all heard of the book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff. And some days that is my mantra. And I finally, one of the things that I do is I always come back to God, and that God is in charge. I can follow God's path. And so I don't need to worry about anything. So thank you for this subject, and I'll pass the microphone on to somebody else.
It looks like it's my turn. So I wrote down several things. I love this topic, Kathy. And the first thing I wrote is my cats. Something has happened over the last 6 months that all of a sudden I have a chest cat and I have a lap cat that never was before. And it's always a surprise. I mean, I'm usually reclined in my recliner watching a podcast, and then all of a sudden, thump, and here's one maneuvering, and it's like all of a sudden, I don't know if I was really concentrating on what I was watching or whatever, but I'm right here in the moment. And then Angel, it's the same thing. These little surprise, oh, hi, that pulls me out of, I don't even know if I'm somewhere else or not, but right into the now. And then he hops up, and then he keeps me where I'm at because he keeps changing his position. So it's like they have really been a blessing. And then the other thing that I had down is something that really brought me into awareness last week is I found out I had the shingles quite accidentally. And it's like what I did was because the doctor, and I didn't go into the doctor for that reason. I was getting regular labs done. And I said, I have this funny little patch right here. Could it be the shingles? And she looked, she said, yep, you're right. When did you get them? And I said, I don't know, but I have had kind of a strange feeling right here. Not really a pain, but maybe a little muscle ache or something. Anyway, she says, well, we can't give you anything. I says, oh, I guess that means I'm on my own. And she says, yes. And then she mentioned lidocaine patches, and I mentioned, I looked it up and, I know some things I can do. And I left. Well, the next morning I had pain. So I called and said, I think I'll take the lidocaine patches. And so, I mean, this has all happened in the course of a week. So 3 nights I wore a lidocaine patch, and, I had stabbing. I couldn't put anything close to my skin. And then Sunday, it's like, oh, wow. It doesn't, it doesn't hurt. And I don't have any pain. And so the question I asked, and I used that Google thing, is what is the spiritual significance of having the shingles? Because that wasn't listed in anything. They asked you, what are you being stressed over? And I said, well, mostly the computer and what to do with the new stuff coming in with technology. And that has really stressed me. And then we dropped it at that. And I'm going, well, I'm sure there's more than that. So anyway, what came up was old past issues and anger because it was on the right side. So I did a couple little writing exercises for that. And then I picked up the Louise Hay book, and it was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I just went, well, that's kind of been the story of my life. I just kind of take that as, yeah, it's like, what's next? And then there was a positive thing to say, and I forget what that is, right now. But it was a reminder of looking closer at my body, which I think somebody has mentioned. It's like the body will always tell us something if I'm listening. And so that's that scenario. And the other things that I'm consciously aware of is taking pictures. It always keeps me in the now, in the present, right where I'm at. And I think that's really been a go-to. And if I have to go in the elevator in my building, I always realize I'm not aware ever, because I forget to push the button until all of a sudden it's like, why isn't the elevator moving? Oh, didn't touch it. Or the door opens and it's a surprise as to what floor I'm on. Just total boop. Or if I go out my door and somebody's coming down the hallway, I realize I'm not where I'm at. I've opened the door and stepped out, but then it's like somebody's right there. And it's like, boy, I was not aware of what I was doing at the time. So I guess I'm lucky that I get a lot of little, whip, think again, Karen, take a deeper look. And I guess we all get to do that in one way or another. What brings us back to that awareness, that topic? It's been on my mind.
Thank you. That's kind of a hard share to follow, but I'll do my best. I actually tell myself stop when I'm having thoughts that are not thoughts that I want to have, and I'm very aware of it. I pay pretty close attention to my self-talk. Um, when it becomes negative or self-critical, I always want to look at where my control is. Have I just given this other person control over how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and what I'm doing? Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to try and control other people, and I don't want
to be controlled by other people. If it's something coming up from my past, I'll ask myself, do I have an amends to make? Because that happens. Something will come up for me and I'll realize, you know what? I was not very compassionate. I need to revisit this conversation and see if I can do something to make it better. When my thoughts are negative, I tell myself, stop. I am love. My thoughts are love. And that brings me right back to the here and now. It may not solve the problem. And there are a couple of personalities in the world that um, they dangle that bait and I just go right after it and I'll get resentful and I'll get angry. And that's not what I want to be. And that's where I'm asking myself, why am I giving this person power? Why am I biting on that bait? And usually I can find an answer. I practice thought stopping, and my favorite way is to just say stop. And sometimes I say it out loud. I'll be walking along and say stop, and people look at me and it's like, did I say that out loud? But the serenity prayer tells us that the only thing I can control is me. And if I'm not paying attention to who I am and what I'm doing, then I'm out of control. So those are my thoughts.
Well, thank you, Reverend Linden. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your thoughts on this, on awareness. And I sort of wanted to go back to something that she wrote at the very start of this. Awareness is the key to freedom. So it's the whole aspect of however we can find that freedom in our life is, by being aware what's going on gives us that freedom. It's just sort of as a whole new way of looking and getting through life on it. And I wanted to respond to something that Kristine shared about with TV. My husband and I were recently watching something that somebody recommended. And the energy was a very dysfunctional family thing. And I went, I really don't want this in my life. I don't want to be watching this. And, and it's sort of, she says, be vigilant on, where you put your life's energy. And my husband takes it, well, it's just a TV program. It's, I go, yeah, but why do I want to watch a bunch of angry people yelling and screaming at each other? And he goes, well, it's highly, it's one highly acclaimed. It won tons of awards. And I said, well, that's because people love to watch angry people. And I go, I don't want that, around me. So sometimes it might be what you're watching, or it might be the people you're hanging around with create an energy that, that awareness is like, are they boosting you up and helping you feel in a loving space? Or is there an energy that's there that you're just sort of always feeling, like it's fight or flight, it's sort of like, so I just sort of think it's that taking that time and being aware. Are you aware of the people, where you spend your time, where you spend your energy, who you spend your time with? And is it, bringing you to your highest good? Are they enriching your life? So with that, I want to thank everybody. I'll open up if anybody has anything they want to add to this. Otherwise, I will close us out in a prayer. So thank you, everyone. And I'm so appreciative that you took the time to join us today. We know that you have a busy schedule, and to sit down and come and watch this, to say you are worthy of this moment in time. We are so grateful, and we look forward to any feedback that you want to give us. It helps us grow. It helps us to make these better for each and every one. And at that, it just is so great to hear from you. And if you liked it, put the like. If you hit that little bell, you can subscribe to this and you'll get aware, be aware when we are doing more taping. So with that, I want to send our thanks and say this prayer of thanksgiving. Dear God, we are so thankful that we had this time together. We had this moment that we could share our thoughts, our feelings, that which is going on within our lives, that we opened our hearts and shared with others the things that bring us awareness, and that we have reached out to people that may need to hear these messages. We're grateful for this opportunity. We're grateful for this technology that allows us to reach people across the world. And we are so thankful each and every day for the many blessings that you give us. With that, I want to say thank you, and may you have a very blessed day, and may your life be fully fulfilled, and you have the awareness of that which is good around you. And bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together. Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.